Welcome to the official AFL Fantasy podcast with the Traders.
G'day with the Traders. Thanks to Sportsbet, I'm Roy. I coach Destroy, and I'm here with Warnie.
Coach of the Warn Dogs.
And...
yeah, you know it. You know
Calvin!
it. Coach of the almighty conquering Calvinator.
You did it.
I did it. I'm back.
You did it.
Even though you didn't want to.
Sexy back.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yes.
And how good was he?
And he shoved it right up him,
He
Roy.
did.
So, Calvinator, you actually had a good week for once.
Yeah, you're right, dog. I did. I've been a bit down.
Yeah.
Been out, but I'm fighting. I'm a fighter.
Yeah.
Yeah, back in primary school, used to fight kids all the time now.
And you'd be down on the canvas, on the asphalt.
I'd lose that, but I'm not losing here, Roy.
No, you just keep getting back up.
Yep.
No doubt you'll be
Fighting
knocked
on.
down again, but...
Oh, 100%.
Well, let's get it done. What was your score?
22.64. And
nice.
it rocketed me up 2,500 spots.
That's a lot.
Just outside the 5,000
Just
mark.
outside the 5,000.
So that's your current
So how are you
milestone.
allowed on the podcast?
Hey?
How are you allowed on the podcast?
Well, yeah, to be on the podcast, you've got to be inside the top 5,000. But you guys have got me along today as a special guest.
No, well done.
And I
Anyone
appreciate
that
it.
nails it
Welcome
like
to
you
the
did
show.
this
Thank
week.
you. Yeah, so that's good. So I'm moving up, but I did have a couple of things going my way.
Yeah,
but a couple of things as well not going my way.
Yeah, good coaches do that, though.
Yeah.
You put yourself in a position to succeed.
That's it.
And that's what you've done.
Congratulations. Roy, you were next on the list.
I was. So I had 22-17. Rather disappointing, but not far off par. I keep saying that every week, dog. Not
Yeah.
far off par. So I dropped 70 spots to 792.
Oh, well, I was a bit off par because I dropped 900 spots outside the top 3,000.
Whoa!
Oi, oi, oi. We're moving in the wrong direction.
Still 2,000 spots out of you, mate.
So
with a 21.45
So
for the
you're only
Warthogs.
about 100 points behind me.
I know. I actually, I don't know how that happened.
Okay, so I've got a tweet here, right, that he sent out.
That's an elephant toe.
Yeah, I know.
You've bitten into
But this
there.
is typical Warnie on a Sunday, right? I'll read you the tweet.
Right.
You are a wanker.
Right, here we go. Retirement's on the cards. Calvinator looking like 300-point winners over the Warn Dogs.
Oh, dog.
Low point in the 20-plus year existence of this footy club.
You'd probably also complain
He's a
about
broken man.
Nathan Brown and
You
his stuff. He
don't.
targeted you, I reckon.
Tweet that out and have a little 300-plus points.
Well, that shows me how much you failed then.
Speaking of fail, I love your beanie you've got on today, dog.
That is
Stuff.
cool.
It's actually hurting my head.
That's a cool beanie.
I like what you do with the
I like
brim
the-
on it.
Yeah, the peak looks
Yeah, the
good.
little peak.
You peanuts. Right. Let's get into talking about some stuff then, like this.
Here it is! That's what you did, Jenny. You stuck it right up them.
I had a good Sunday.
You must have.
Well, this helped.
Yeah.
This is when actually probably what prompted that tweet when he was no good, and that is Zak Butters, who ended up scoring 112. Now, he needed a rocket,
Yes.
so I launched one because I love watching Zak Butters. On Sunday, it wasn't a good watch. Anyway, he ended up having a 49-point last quarter and was probably almost the sole reason that Port Adelaide, Yata Pooty, got up and won that game.
Well done. Good rocket by you.
It worked.
No, well deployed. I'll
like
take
it.
that one.
Yep.
Yeah, great work. My +3 goes to Jordan Clark. Now,
Oh, yes.
he's been great this season, right?
Yep,
but
yep.
would you believe he hasn't scored triple figures yet until he went bang and made the most of that matchup with 141, if you don't mind.
He got so much of that ball.
He loves it.
He was
8 tackles
ridiculous.
as well, which was big for him.
Considering you had that attention last week,
Yes.
I think, wow,
Yeah, he
he made
came
up
out
for
ready
it.
to make up for it. Yeah, good boy.
My +3? It's pretty obvious. And you're thinking, oh, he might go Jordan Clark. No, I won't go him.
No.
I won't go Zorko.
What?
No, I'll go. I've got to give it to Sexy back. Yeah.
Of course you do.
One of the greatest trade-ins of the season, right?
100%.
Yeah, so
The value of it.
the value.
Let alone the points return.
the role, Just seen it out my good eye, that one.
It was wet, and it was like he had the driest pill ever.
Yep.
Clean.
Slippery, they reckon?
Not for him.
No, it's not.
So you were pretty keen on him all week, were you?
I had my eye on him. Yeah.
Why?
Why? Because he's a good player. I got him at the start of the year.
That's true.
Yeah. Don't say these names, dog.
The sexy back.
See, no, we're not doing this.
He scored 88 on the weekend. He's back in the team. He's got this half-back role.
That he had and then lost.
I'm getting Lukosius vibes from a couple of weeks ago.
Right, can you just put him in his
He's
place?
not going to full forward, though.
No, he's going out of the team.
Sexy's not an option.
No, hell no.
Tell him. So he's crystal
Don't
clear.
do it.
$505,000.
Big no.
I don't care if they were giving him away.
Don't throw your season away. Twice. For the second time with sexy back.
So you two were absolutely brutal. Absolutely brutal.
Yeah, I was.
Guilty.
That was Monday.
I do that on
We
Monday.
fast forward to Thursday.
Yeah.
Even on that podcast, because I had to listen to our live show again just to see exactly how you're talking. It was like they were all your stats and all your things, and you were the one that made sexy a thing.
Yeah. Why'd you have to put me in that when this was between you two?
Well, yeah, I needed support.
You were nearly more brutal than Calvinator. Although,
Well, I stand by the fact he will wreck your season again at some stage.
Yeah.
No, he won't. No, he won't.
my favourite quote though, if they were even giving him away.
Well,
that was harsh.
thing is now, he's 68,000 more than what he was last
Oh
week.
my God.
Still a bargain,
Still
too.
a bargain for those who want to join the sexy party.
Oh, who wouldn't with that role?
It's a great party. Great party.
I reckon.
Is that really the content we're here for?
Don't say these.
I don't want to go there again.
It was the most disgraceful display I've ever seen.
Because it's just not acceptable.
So why Calvin has a sexy back doing what he does?
Yes.
I had a back not doing anything. Tom Stewart.
Oh, man,
Tom
I
Stewart.
know.
55.
Dude, dog.
Far out, mate. It's no good.
No.
This is an absolute disgraceful performance.
Is it your worst hold ever?
It is, and I've learned some lessons over the weekend. Yes. Actually, I've learned a lot of lessons this year, and I think I knew the lessons previously as well, because I've probably been the biggest advocate of, 1 week is see you later, you're not holding on to him. I held him through that concussion, and I didn't even love it because I didn't ever think he was going to be a top 6 defender. So why I held, I've got no idea.
I know. You're an idiot.
Yeah.
I keep looking at his hat and I can't stop laughing. Is that a fashion statement?
Calvin thought it was
like-
in 2007.
You would fit in down at Geelong with Tom and the boys with that on.
I need my hair back. My big blonde hair. So he was no good. That was the first time. Frico tweeted the first game that he he failed to take a mark in a full game.
That is
In a full game.
In a full game.
extraordinary.
Was the, caveat on that.
Yeah.
But,
Oh, my goodness.
ridiculous. So he has to go for me this week. He's just an absolute disgrace. But yeah, him, couple that with Baker, who I held on to as well, and then ended up being out for 2 weeks. You talk about your bad luck. Come on.
You don't hold them.
It's no good. And then, God, I'll tell you another lesson, Roy.
Yes. Oh, yeah.
Don't always pick the cheaper guy.
Yeah, in a coin toss.
Yeah, because I am like $14,000 short of.
You are in a patch of torment.
It is
at the moment.
It is,
And I
this
love
is-
it.
They're hard
And
to
these
get
are the
out
holes
of.
that people go down. People are having
yeah.
trouble, and I had this last year.
Yes.
Because, like, for example, I was saying to Cal when Cal was going down for his leak, I said, "Now, Calvinator, this was like back when I had to get." And you had to as well,
Yes.
Roy, and you still have got the scot-free on this one. Daniel Rich.
Yes.
We got into a hole where Daniel Rich was our option to get. Now, I don't know what that is for other coaches. Like, the ruck department's probably done that for some people this year.
I've witnessed
where-
someone in
What have you seen?
Ruck spiral.
A ruck spiral.
Yeah. Now, there's a coach out there who I respect highly. And probably if we're talking fantasy community, Dog is the captain.
Godfather
But
of.
you know who the VC is?
Who?
Bales.
Oh, Bales, yeah.
Now, Bales is
He's
going really
dominating
well
this
this
year.
year, killing it. To the point where I thought, I'm going to have a look at what Bales is doing.
Yep.
Because he's a man in the know.
He is.
Who do you reckon his rucks are? Bales. Coaching very well,
he's
seeing
coaching
him
well.
well.
He's got Marshall in.
and Max.
Yep.
Is that who he's got?
No.
Oh.
He has got the ruck of the decade.
Dean Cox.
He's rocking Goldie.
Oh, Goldstein.
Bales, can you send me a message, please, and explain
How
to
did
me
you get there?
how the hell, like what happened? Was it a rollback team scenario and somehow the system put Goldie there?
The Jordan Suite.
The Jordan
stuff.
Suite, I reckon. He's gone down there, that sort of path. And he's trying to scramble back out.
Like, I mean, he's still going well, but to end with Goldie?
Yeah.
Bales, hit me up, bro. I need to talk about this. I need to talk this
You
through.
don't want to be alone on that one.
Now,
Roy, speaking of rucks.
Speaking of
it's yours.
rucks and terrible ones, one not much better than Goldie, to be honest. Max.
Oh,
now, I did not want to be rolling the C into him because I've done it before. I've rolled it into him in what should be an easy matchup, and he's looked exactly like he did yesterday. Dinner plate hands, I call it. Fair enough when he's doing his tap work, which that wasn't even great, but he could not take a mark around the ground. Under a lot of pressure, I know, but he was rocking up with very stiff fingers. So Max for his 86. 89 was bad enough, and then a late update saw him drop to 86. So 3 marks in the end, 0 tackles.
Oh, wow.
Now, you look at someone like Rowan Marshall, the work he does, not only with his marking, bending his fingers to get around the ball, but he also grabs people around the contest tackling. Max showed none of that. -3.
Yeah, my -3, I reckon he's had it a few times this year. And we're talking the Bond.
Oh, my goodness.
71.
It's one of our worst picks of all time.
Yeah, it is.
We never pay up. Oh, no, you do, Cal.
I do. I love it.
No, we don't. But we just thought he was someone who, he'd probably drop a bit, but just someone you'd really want to have for the consistent 110s.
Last year was an anomaly.
Yep, it was.
Yep.
No, you're spot on. Now, he was tagged a little or given attention by a guy who did not even know which way his team was going.
I saw
and
that.
he still held him to 71.
Unbelievable.
That's an issue.
I know. That's a problem.
Coward.
Yeah.
I tell you what, though, out of that too, though, I reckon the Giants got a little bit of work to do with their midfield to be beaten by the Dogs like that.
Well, that's true. Very interesting times.
All right. Cow, you said shout out to Rowan Marshall.
Well,
why did you make him your number one captain instead of English, mate?
He was in that. See, we'll have a look at this list here because there were some pretty average scores across a few premiums here.
Yes.
So Bond with a 71. Sam Walsh was tagged to a 68. Tom Green, 83.
Getting cheaper.
Real cheap, but do you want him?
Yes.
Tim English.
Because I'm going to do this move. It goes from Jeremy Sharp to Green after the bye.
Will that make you money?
It'll make me money. It'll make me money.
Oh, stop talking about Tim English, 80. Oh, the Weasel. Weasel number 3.
You were happy about that, were you?
I was pumped with that.
Cut him off.
77.
He's no weasel anymore.
He's not. I don't want him.
No.
Tom Stewart, 55. And Zach Merritt, 78.
Some big names, isn't it?
In
And
a
popular
good matchup.
players.
He was in your mix for captains as well.
Yes,
wasn't
he was.
Jeez, you haven't had a good week for captains.
Still number 1, though, I believe.
Are you?
Yeah, I would be.
I don't know.
I'm a fair way out in front, dog.
Jeez, having English as your number one option.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
that
didn't do...
worked,
Yeah, I didn't hit him this week as well as I have been.
No.
Yeah.
Just pushed to 3.
Yep.
Need to have a little bit of a look at you, Cow.
Oh, he's into it too.
No, you are ranked first overall still.
So the competition around me obviously isn't doing that well either, Rob.
No, she was a tough
It was
week.
a tough
There was
week.
a few people that it's certainly fair to say the expectations were higher than what they produced. But man, oh man, those 4 dudes over 140, some with a VC, that was a game changer for
big
people.
time.
Now, some of the coaches that would have had some of those good players, one of our mates here, Ben, barely sniffed it. Ended up with 2,537.
Look at that score, will
That's
you?
400 more points than the Warn Dogs.
Like that's how quickly things can change. That's why you just got to keep rolling the legs over, stick to the process.
Well, that's it. Bumped him right up into the top 1,000 now, so 868th overall. So well done, Ben. A couple of other big ones. There's 3 teams actually scored over 2,500. Mitchell's the Lipinski file, and then, David, he's a legend.
He is?
Baldrick's boys had a 25-1. So
wow.
big scores right at the top. And the overall leader is Baden with the Bandits of Barbados. They had a score of 24-19 for the week, which has then got a nice 100-point buffer now on Jasper, who coaches North. And the Hat Watch, 100th place. You need 20,674 points. Doing your maths at home, that's about 500 off the Warthogs.
Well, look,
which is
that
not
guy
good.
just put 400 on it.
Yeah, well,
week.
it could be done. Could be done. So, well done to Ben Gunsies Galars, but also Raz's D's Nuts are on the same points there in 101st. But, the unlucky mug there would be that. All right. The votes are in for the Michael Barlow medal. That's our cash cow of the year. And for round 10, the 5 votes goes to Kyle Lohman for his 5-goal haul. That Richmond matchup is good for plenty of players, and this line really enjoyed his time on Saturday night for 99 points. That's the best score of his career.
Warnie, you would have been happy with Jeremy Sharp's 88 points, so he gets 4 votes for his game against the Suns. The thing that his owners love about him the most is the amount of time he spends on ground gives him plenty of time to rack up.
Harley Reid gets 3 votes for his 82. He had an epic performance against the D's in the Eagles' 3rd win of the season. That goal from the centre clearance is one of the highlights of the year and maybe goal of the year, Roy.
It was that good. Now, I was happy with Ollie Dempsey for his 81 to kickstart round 10. So he gets the 3 votes and he bought himself a few more weeks in my team.
Finally, 1 vote goes to Darcy Wilson, who keeps getting it done. 71 points for the Gun Saint for another fieldable score in the forward line.
I'll take that every day of the week. Thank you, Darcy.
There's been a change at the top with Jeremy Sharp now the leader in the Michael Barlow medal with 22 votes. He overtook Matt Roberts, who has 21 votes.
Here's the news of the week you need to know on the official AFL Fantasy podcast.
All right, a few little bits and pieces of news in here. Sam DeConning, hamstring tightness for him, and he was laid out in that first game, so that started some of the issues over the weekend. In chronological order here a bit too. Robbie Fox hurt his shoulder. Jacob Wiedering a thigh there. Blues injury issues, Roy.
It's not good, dog.
They continue. Isaac Rankin, after that long run.
That
where
was
he ran
not long.
too far.
He did not.
Only about
Let
10
him
metres
go.
too far. He ended up doing his hammy right on that play to rub insult into
Now,
injury.
If
Injury
that
into
was
insult
one of the
or
day
whatever.
cossers, that's not getting
Hell
called.
no.
Never getting
Hell
called.
no.
Jeez.
In that game too, so the Pies lost a couple of players. Will Hoskin-Elliott with a hamstring and Reece McInnes with concussion. So that could be good for the job security of those
Definitely.
kids that have come in, or those older kids,
Old
because
kids,
a couple of them are veterans. Michael Frederick, concussion. Darcy Jones did a hammy, so that might be on some people's benches, mine included, there with that score 13. Roy, you predicted an 18, but it was 13. That was rude by you to do that as well.
Look, and I love DJ as well.
Yes. Lafau, he hurt his jaw, and Mansell, his head. No good for the Tigers. Their injury list is big.
It is.
They are massive. Now, Darcy Parish was laid out with calf tightness, so that would have caused a few people some donuts possibly.
Would have
or
stung a few.
Very much trying to reverse some trades and trying to alter what they were doing there. Now, Sam Durham.
It's a sound. It's a sound, remember?
He hurt his neck up against Ex-Airy. I think he basically headbutted his ribs, and Ex-Airy looked worse.
It hurt X.
Yeah.
You've done a good job if you can hurt that big fella.
Yeah.
So, poor old neck.
But ended up hurting his ankle later in the game, so he'll be one to watch there. Hopefully he'll be all right because he's obviously a very good player and was good in the Dreamtime game last year. Miller Bergman did his hammy in the 3rd quarter. Is this what prompted Shee's back?
Yeah, highly likely. Bit of padding there for the Shees too, thanks to that.
So
Can't
hopefully,
rely on that every week though.
Got
Cal.
away with it, Roy.
Big time.
yeah, because a lot of people did trade Sheezel last week. Obviously,
Yes.
thought that was the right thing to do.
He was the 6th most traded out for the week.
Was he really?
Yep, sure was.
Like, I mean, a lot of those coaches would no doubt say, I still expected him to be all right. But when you're sitting at a mill, you can use that to end up with 2 good players for the one, can't you?
Definitely.
Josh Sin hurt his shoulder. Jimmy brought him in, Cal.
Yeah, Jimmy did. Jimmy Guy.
He went to the Sindes.
He went to Sindes most.
Now,
Unbelievable.
Ollie Wines in that game, so heart palpitations for him. So he was subbed out, pretty precautionary. He had that issue a couple of years ago. So, he sounds like it's all okay, which is good news. Not like my broken heart with my fantasy team. Hopefully he's
My God.
getting looked after. Jake Lever out with concussion as well. Now, I just wanted to note just a tag watch because we did see a couple this week. They are in vogue, and we've got James Jordan. Didn't go to a halfback this time. It was to Walshy. Ward on Bont. Windhager went to Sarong. Sarong did a pretty good job He did. That. But Sheed went to Oliver in the last game. So
he's still got 97 or so.
yeah.
But yeah, that's definitely something for captains this week, Roy, to keep an eye on.
Got to keep an eye on
Those
it.
players. MRO, Eric Hipwood's got a week there now. Magoo's news, a couple of players worth talking about. Luke Parker, third week in a row in the twos.
Yeah.
26 disposals, 9 tackles, scored 109. But he probably gets suspended. Did you see that?
Yes.
Vision? I think he's game over.
Lee Matthews suggested it may be due to frustration. Watching Taylor
be.
Adams get a game, he's in the Magoos.
Is that what he said?
Took it out on that guy.
Wow. Interesting take, Lee.
He retracted it a fair bit
Yeah,
after
okay.
he said it.
Peatling had 25 disposals, 3 goals and 100 fantasy points, but what was good about him, I think he was pretty good in the clearances.
Yes.
So he could be an option to come in,
He
especially
could.
with DJ out.
Yes.
Riley, 77 points for him, 24 disposals, 4 tackles. Don't know if he's...
Well, 140s don't even get him knocking
No,
on the
it doesn't matter what he does.
No.
unless he does go to Syria to stop the war.
Well, he might have to.
what he needs to do.
Who made that?
That was funny.
Jai Clark. So he was sub on Thursday night, then came back home and played a game against Coburg. He ended up being their top scorer. 27 disposals, 2 goals, 6 marks, 6 tackles, and 123. That's a nice day.
Did he really come?
Yeah.
What?
Well, he didn't play a long time because he was sub.
That's just extraordinary.
Isn't it?
Binsey, Roy, 28 disposals. So Jackson Binns, the blue boy. With
How
all their
is
injuries,
Binsey?
he's got to get a gig
Like,
some point.
literally, he must be the last dude on the list available, and he's still getting it done.
Yeah, so he had
Surely
108.
gets a go.
Hugo Garcia got dropped, and he responded with 131, 27 disposals, a goal, and 10 tackles. And Zach Reed, if he's still sitting on your
Yeah, he's
bench,
still there.
20 disposals, 10 marks, and 102. He might get an opportunity at some point. Right, let's look at this week. It is round 11 coming up. This is the last weekend before the mid-season buys. So to be aware of the rules for those. Well, after this weekend, it's actually a bit busy. We've got a next lot of DPPs. Don't get excited. I don't reckon there'll be many there, full stop, let alone many that will be relevant. So they'll be happening after this week, round 11, and then we hit the buys. So we've got our 4 weeks of the mid-season buys, and a reminder about the rules there that we have best 18 like we had earlier in the season, but we do get 3 trades per week for these ones. So that's important to know, and in your planning as well. And it's a little bit different. What our strategy has been for these buys in the past is trade out players who've got a buy, get someone who's off their buy. But that doesn't work for the round 12 one
No, it
because
does not.
you've got players
Some
there. So
interesting-
some good ways to have a look at your side. Get the Fantasy Coach subscription, and on the desktop side, it's so nice. You can toggle them on, work out how many you're going to have. So you want to have at least 18, and obviously you have your 3 trades leading into it. So have you blokes been thinking about it before we get into some trade talk?
A little. Not as much as I should. The time I did have a little look, I thought I'm well balanced enough here to be fine navigating with the 3 trades. So I haven't put a lot into it, I'll be honest. But from now on, I certainly will.
Right.
Look at it hard.
Calvin, have you put any thought
less than
into it?
Roy. I haven't had a look.
No.
I did flick on my colours and played around with that a moment ago.
Yeah.
But yeah, now's the time to start looking.
Yeah.
Not looking at it any time before this, Roy.
No. And the thing is, if you're... The people that are in trouble are the ones that their benches are all
Dead. Yep.
red dots.
Yep.
Like if you've let it go too far, that's where it's going to start.
And there are some bad benches out there at the moment.
yeah.
People have been unlucky with some of the players.
Extremely
but-
unlucky.
Yeah, that's where it is. But this round 12 buy is a big one because we do have a lot of our good players on it. So in price order, essentially. So, no, they're not price order. What am I looking at here? Anyway, whatever they are. Some names worth looking at. The teams that are on the buys. So let's talk about it that way. Brisbane. Cow's got your Zorko. And then if you Dunkley's been a popular option.
He has.
A good option to be grabbing as well. Then you do probably have a couple of rookies as well on that. You've got Bruce Revel. You've got Kai Lohman, who's very good.
Pinky.
Yeah. Well, he's not Brisbane.
Sorry.
And then
He's on the buy.
GWS,
Yeah.
they've got a few there with Tom Green, probably one of the popular guys there.
Yes.
And they've had a couple of bench guys there. Jones, who's now injured, but also Cadman.
Lockie Whitfield.
Whitfield's there. And then looking at North Melbourne, Pinky, Roy.
Pinky, yes.
But they've got then your your Shees,
Yep.
which is obviously a big one that a lot of coaches will have. Then you've got your Fisher, who is a target, and
Yes.
maybe some people might have already been rolling with.
Kapow,
Kapow.
Xeri.
X.
Oh, my goodness.
It's a lot.
And then going to the Swans, there's a few there. Errol. You blokes have got Errol.
Errol.
Heaney, obviously been a genius this year with that. Could you still have Grundy? Some coaches
Yeah,
might
they
be
would.
Without
with
a doubt, they
Grundy.
would.
And then Matt Roberts is gone now after
You would
being
think so.
managed last week
Same
or whatever
with
he
Jordan,
was.
yeah.
And Jordan too.
So, I
But,
mean,
there's a lot of players out of these 4 teams.
Yeah, because for a round of 4,
I know.
there's a lot of people out.
So, is there a play where you take a bit of a hit, Roy, in the first week?
Well, it's got to leave you looking reasonably pretty for the rest of it, doesn't
would
it?
think so.
Because especially when it ramps up in the last 2 rounds where there's a heap of teams out, surely it's worth taking a small hit this first one.
You would think so.
Yeah, so your strategy, I guess, yeah, you don't really want to be trading any of those premiums out though, do you?
No. What's the ideal amount this round then? If you were to put a number on it, this first round of it,
Bit of
How
an
many-
old man, old school thing. We used to have 3 of these. And
Yes.
it was like 8, 10, 12
Yes.
is how many that you'd have
rough
missing on
guide,
those
yep,
buys. So that's
Yeah.
how many would be out. And that's also assuming that you've got a full squad playing too.
Well,
which
that's
is
it.
That's
always
true.
a hard thing. But I think you can go lighter on. You can go closer to your 18 in this first round.
yeah.
And then they can build up. In saying that, though, what you're doing with those trades later on, and we've all got players in our teams, like, I don't know if you've heard this little plan that I've got, but Jeremy Sharp has the round 13 bye.
Yes.
And he is just perfect timing for him to go to a round 12 bye player.
Yes.
And it's Tom Green that I'm looking at there, Roy. But that's the type of thing that you want to look at. You might look at some of these guys, like Sam Closey could be another option. He's got the round 14 bye, so you could get someone from around 12 or around 13 bye when he's coming through. And that's how you probably want to look at as your first move, I guess, is trying to get those rookies that have made their cash
Yeah.
to do that. The other thing is, this first round, the round 12 one, do we just look at getting some cash there, and is it just survival? Is it a rookie shuffle? Is it that type of thing to try to get to your 18-plus players? Because it's always nice to have more than your 18 as well. That's the other thing that you should always be trying to do, because there's nothing better than dropping off players. from
No,
your fantasy
exactly. And our teams are going to, ability-wise, drop off pretty quick in these squads of 18. Like, there's going to be...
Definitely.
You're going to be like, oh, yes, I've got 19. And if you really look closely, that'll be made up of people like
Blake Howes,
Howes and-
Harvey Thomas, these kind of guys.
Clark might
Yep.
be in there with his vest. And
Yep.
yeah, so it will drop off very quickly. If you're rocking those guys in round 12, you'd want to be hitting 20 and hope a couple of those guys can hit a 60.
And that's the thing. We've had a couple of rookies that have hit, even this week, even like with your Darcy Wilsons. Harley Reid got an 80 this week.
Yeah,
Like,
Dempsey got 80.
yep, just
You're going to need that.
Yes, you are.
Yeah. But you need to throw 3 of them in there to see which one pops for his
That's it.
70 or
Yeah.
80. Yeah.
You'd be a genius if you could guess it.
All right, well, let's look at some options then for us to bring in. Let's go across the lines, or do we start with the 2 names that we should be
Yeah,
talking
let's talk about it.
Let's talk about the
Start
2
there.
names. All right, so
Sexy fish.
the sexy fish.
Yeah.
Right. Cow. That cow goes up to the lakes a lot in
Definitely
the
do.
winter.
Tag trout. I caught a tag trout once.
Did you?
Yeah.
Did you win anything for it?
Couple of K. Yep. Some people say greatest fisherman in Tasmania, but
Yeah, I have heard that. Good on you.
anyway,
Have
so
you got a photo of it?
I do have a photo. I'll tweet it out. Yeah, I'll let everyone
People
know.
would like to see
Yeah,
that.
they would.
Do you know that on your iPhone, you've changed your calling profile picture to that?
Yeah.
So you ring, and it's got him holding his tag trout.
Hey.
What sort of a bloody weird unit are you?
I'm a weird unit.
are.
Weird enough that Alex Sexton came to my team last week. Break even of 15 this week, Roy.
So is he a must-have?
No.
No.
No, he's not a
Is he
must.
someone
that's a
you
bit
should
too
be
extreme.
shopping for, though?
But this is the thing, like, around that price, at $5.73. These are the kind of guys we're putting into our forward line, because if he has a 70 this week, you go, that's fine. I'm happy with that.
Yes.
So, look, he's not going to pump a one. His draw coming up on the scale is actually quite tricky.
Yeah. Yeah, and Geelong was an easy one,
It
as
was.
silly as that sounds.
It was.
So, yeah, what have they got? Port this week.
Yeah, down in Hobart.
So
going
no,
from-
he doesn't. Sorry, that's Fisher. Sorry, my bad.
Oh, yeah. So
Sexton has...
Sexton actually plays, checks his notes, Carlton under the roof.
Okay. So he should be okay.
He'd like it there, Roy. Coming back from Darwin.
I love how Cal has to lift his old school mouse that he uses out of the way to check his penned notes.
Oh, no, he's upgraded that mouse. Used to have the cord.
I used to have
now
a cord
you've got
on
a wireless
it. Yeah,
one.
I got a wireless one.
I would have
shouldn't
loved
be
to have watched
bagging
you
out
try
then.
to connect that via Bluetooth. How'd you
It was
go?
actually really easy.
Was it?
Yeah, really easy.
Over under 6 minutes.
No, way under.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
You hate a touchscreen, don't you?
I didn't know it needed a battery. Anyway,
Is that what took up most of that 6 minutes?
it took a bit. Okay. So, Sexton, not a must-have.
No, well, no, yeah.
Not a must-have.
Okay, in a forward line,
In a
to get
forward
someone
line.
under 600k that can score like that.
Yeah.
A very, very good option.
And it's not like it's a name that's plucked out of nowhere.
No.
We started with him.
We started with him. So, yes, he can come back. As
It's
hard
all
as that
about the
is.
role.
As I said last week, he's a good pick.
All right. Fisher.
Fisher.
He's around 700k.
Oh, do you want me to play it again? Go and check it out on social.
why didn't you do
can
it?
see their facial expressions.
Why didn't you pick him?
Because I was editing videos, I was
No,
making
no,
things
no.
too hard.
No,
if I
you
had
have
more
two
time to think about
trades.
it, if I had more time to think about it, I would have done it because I had Baker, and because I did not think he was going to miss a second game, so it wasn't even in the calculations.
Maybe a bit less shopping for cool hats, mate, and a bit more time into your team.
Far out. It's actually giving me a headache.
Yeah.
Well, that's what fashion does, mate. It's not made for comfort.
No.
It's to look cool.
Zoolander over there. Look at him. So Fisher, 700k, break even of 38. He's gone 109 in his last three.
Yes.
Do we do it?
Well, we can, because I watched the game closely on the weekend, and it is extraordinary.
Isn't it? The second on the ladder, and they're
Yep.
premiership favourites
Yep.
now. Bombers. Is that what you're talking about? You watching that game closely?
Stick to the script.
Right,
dog.
sorry.
Can I continue?
Yeah, you keep
I
going.
thought that's why Roy was watching it closely.
I was watching Fisher closely.
Right.
Now,
That beanie has just squeezed his head too tight.
they go to him like they're giving it to Gary Ablett Jr. Like he is the best
Yeah, right.
ball user in history. It's extraordinary.
Yeah,
like,
right.
They'll go to him in bad positions just because he's like some sort of genius that can get them out of it. It's amazing. And given the fact that they are willing to go so far out of their way to give it to him,
Yeah.
at that price and that break even of 38, I think you milk it till it fails. And the only ways it could fail takes a little bump when Colby comes back.
Yep.
If Sheezel was to go back there full time, and that's not happening. So for the rest of the year, he is now going to play the role that we thought he was going to play round one when we picked him. So yes, he's a viable option.
So if you could only bring in one of these guys, Sexton or Fisher.
You go the cheaper one, dog's rule.
Yep.
Yeah,
Sexton's a
it's
man.
definitely a rule.
Yep.
And this is the other thing, and this is what both of you are ignoring, I think, with Fisher at the moment. Round 12 bye, which we've just talked about how loaded the two of you are on that bye.
Too many.
And a lot of coaches are. That's a factor.
It is a factor. I think I'm willing to do it anyway.
Right. If I don't do that then,
Wow.
can I go Matt Kennedy, Roy?
Yeah, you can, but it comes with a permanent flag. You don't get value picks without flags.
That's
So
okay.
658k is.
658.
These two certainly come with their flags. So Kennedy's is this. While the injuries are as they currently are, he gets a nice role in the midfield. He hits 60% CBAs. He gets access to a ton. And he's a 90-plus guy in this role. He has been for multiple years, right?
Okay.
But out of nowhere, and it can even be mid-game, he can be pushed to, say, half forward. And the difference, he's not a half forward that can play high half forward and still score respectively. He can actually go missing completely. And I'm talking like a 15-point half. He has that ability, right? He also has the ability, coming off a good game, to get to start in a vest,
Well, this is what he's done.
despite the injuries.
Round 5 scored 91, then went 100, then went 102.
Yep.
Out of nowhere against Collingwood. They've made him the sub.
Yes.
For a 15.
Yep.
And then he was fine after that 85 and 97 on the weekend. So that's why he's cheap. Like that
Yep.
15 makes him cheap.
Yep.
And his break even being 76 means he doesn't get away from you either. Really,
No,
if
no.
he's there. But that vest, is this what Carlton are doing though? Because haven't they gone a few
Huey.
good players?
Yep.
And is this their management that they're
Yep.
trying to do?
Huey came off, I think he led clearances the game before he got vested. It was a significant stat anyway, and then he copped it as well. So Kennedy's certainly someone that he gets his turn in a vest for some unknown reason, and if he's on the wrong side of a role change, it's going to hurt. But I certainly tick off the move at this stage, given the injury issues and his form.
So Chair is listed as 3 to 4 weeks.
Surely he gets you through the bye.
And that's what your plan would be, to go through to that round 15 bye
Yeah.
and just go as a forward.
Yeah.
Then he can flick across to somewhere else.
Yeah. So I'm a fan of it because of his price, but it would be wrong for me not to suggest or bring up all these things, because I did this last year when the writing was on the wall. He'd done his vests and stuff. I launched straight in at a bargain price, and he was playing really well. A couple of times he was on 50 at half time, and I'm like, yes, this move is paying off. And dead set. Start of the second half forward, and he'd end up on 60.
So you'd want him to get him through the next 3 weeks. He has the round 14 bye, but so does Caldwell.
Right, so it's 14, is it? Yep.
Hit a ton Caldwell, Roy.
Yeah, about time.
Could you bring him in?
Well, he obviously benefited from Parrish being a late out with that calf tightness. He's a very good player, but he also comes with risk. Caldwell's probably safer long-term than Kennedy, but I wouldn't be surprised on any given week that Kennedy outscores Caldwell.
Parrish, Caldwell.
Yeah,
That was the thing, though, this week.
it was. Big time.
That'd be my flag on that one, I reckon.
So he only
definitely.
had, with Parrish out, he only had 36% CBAs.
Yeah.
It's still
And-
stoppages and ball.
It is, but before that, he basically wasn't in there at all.
No.
Which is why his scores have been so
Yes.
poor.
Yes.
Okay, so out of those guys, Sexton,
Are
Fisher,
they priced near each other, Caldwell and Kennedy, are they?
Caldwell would be a bit more. He'd be a
Over
good 100, I
700,
reckon.
wouldn't he?
Caldwell is at, about 7.5, so 746.
Yeah.
It's a big
so,
difference.
So I'd be going Kennedy there.
So out of the 4 that we've just talked about, we'd have Sexton as number 1.
is a clear number 1, I reckon, for the price.
Yep, same.
And then,
I think I'd go, and buy is the thing for me.
Yeah.
And I reckon, and this is just making an assumption, I reckon it would have to be for a lot of coaches.
I think so.
The buy is a factor, and I'd be going Kennedy over Fisher.
Yeah.
Kennedy's a little bit cheaper as well, but has that mid-roll, which is fine.
For now.
And I think he gets away with it now too. I don't see him in a vest now. I reckon that was part of management for that.
Yeah.
There's a lot of Carlton players.
Mate, I know. And there's a lot worse than Hewitt too, and he wore a vest a couple of weeks ago. They do random things, but which is why I'm going Sexton, Fisher, Kennedy. But I totally understand Dog's view on that one.
agree.
Yeah. Buy would be the real. Oh, see, I think I'd like Fisher in my side more, but the
Yeah.
buy has to be a massive factor.
It
Has
does.
to be.
Yeah.
1 week, though. It's only 1 week,
It is
Roy.
1 week.
Just 1 week.
Could be enough of a big elephant that could be eaten in that week. What about in defence then? Some players that have caught your eye, Destroy.
Well, Chippy. That's 114 in his last 3 now. Break even of 38.
Yeah.
So, there's people coming back, yada, yada, yada. But now their injury list is growing as well.
Yep.
And his form and what he's offering through there, it's not like Tom Mitchell's just going to come and bump him out of the gut. So he's back in the middle and he's back in good form there. So he is 100% an option. Luke Ryan. Now, for me to be saying this,
I know.
he has obviously forced my hand, but that's a whopping 131 in his last 3 now. Break even of 79.
Yeah.
People are chucking VCs on him and getting, 120 plus.
Loving it.
Meanwhile, we're taking max captain 86. So, yes, Luke Ryan is a VCable. His ceiling is nuts and through the roof. Form is there. Break even is there. So, he's...
And a buy that you can probably buy into as well with that round 13.
Correct. Now, Richards.
Yep.
So he started like a man possessed.
Yep.
Obviously, we talked about how he loves it when Libba's out. He's an interesting one. His break even's just 53, which shows the good form that he's
couple
been
of weeks
in.
he's done, yep.
103 in his last 3. Just tick under 100 this week was his score. He's a bargain. Can you go into? Would you buy into it though?
I don't think so.
No, it's funny, isn't it?
But Libba's not coming back anytime soon.
And
So
he should be in that last conversation he should be in those, listed amongst those players as an option to bring in. But it's
Agree.
just not for me for some
No,
reason.
I couldn't do it.
No.
It's hard. Bulldogs I just don't want to buy into.
No.
Is the
Well, that's the thing
main
as well.
thing for that.
Bailey Dale, an interesting one while you're talking about buying into dogs. He saved his game for a 70.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, he was going really, really bad, disaster bad. And I think it's been a step in the right direction preparing coaches for what to expect this week, to be honest.
Well, who does James Jordan tag on Thursday night?
That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah, it's got to be Dale, doesn't it?
I think he might get clamped.
Does he go to Bond? No. Is it that half-back thing again?
I think he'll go back to the half-back one.
I think he could as well. Interesting.
Jeez.
It will be interesting.
Let's hope so, because Bond doesn't need anything.
No,
No,
Bond
he
doesn't need any more attention.
No. Midfield. So
Yes.
that's an interesting one. Oliver certainly did his job. So
Yeah.
Oliver getting tagged, that was something to be concerned about, but he pushed through it. So he is tracking in the direction we thought. So he's still a bargain with a break even of 71.
Mm-hmm.
Tom Green's down 216,000 now.
Wow.
Should target him after his bye.
Should do.
Who would you trade up for, Bill?
Got a couple of players. Maybe Sharp.
That's not a bad idea. It's not a bad idea to put on the table. Now, it's not a good week to bring him in, obviously, but if you've got him, his 121 will be covered this week. His break-even of 121 will be covered this week versus the Cats, who are basically giving up points. Now, a name I wanted to bring up because I think he is ready to go now. Not someone we would probably do, but Will Day.
He was good on the weekend.
He was. 724,000 on the back of 109 versus the Power. Now, if you're scoring 109 in Adelaide versus the Power, I think that's enough to say you are back. Obviously, a slow start after an interrupted preseason, etc. But I think he's someone you should start considering at that price. That's really bottomed out Will Day. And we know what he was doing last year. He's much better than that. He's down 136K.
It's the sort of move that you just want to tip your peaked beanie at someone that's picked him up in draft and got that those few weeks before he came back in.
Yes, for sure.
That's nice. Rightio. Can I just question?
Yes.
Is there a move that you could get in Marshall
Yes.
at the moment?
Yes.
And see, this was one of my little, those bad things that something happened with your cash, and if I could have afforded this one,
yes.
I could have gone, if I had the 20K or whatever it needed to be, ex-Airy to Marshall. Like, would you make a move like that?
Yes.
Because I'm just thinking of things. Like, X is doing a great job. He's been excellent.
Pardon the
X.
pun. Or,
I like it.
cool.
But to go to Marshall, which
You asked him to bring some comedy.
could
he's done
be significantly better. And that's the thing.
Bloody
We
oath
saw
he's
it last
significantly
year.
better.
And we saw those, the last 2 weeks, 164, 171, and that makes it, pretty easy to say that. But he's a guy that can be averaging 20 more points than X for the rest of the year.
Yep. Built different. Finished the season last year as the highest averaging player for a significant stretch.
Yep.
Imagine getting to just throw a VC or a C on a guy doing that who was like doubling the captain that we selected.
Yeah. So, it's
X
less
is-
than 200K to go for some, that is a massive upgrade.
It is.
But probably not the coin that you think you'd need to do.
X is good, but Marshall's great. I'm actually disappointed for you, Dog, that you couldn't pull that move.
Yeah, I'm really gutted.
Well, it would have helped buys a bit.
But
I mean,
both it would.
Fisher
And
could have
that's-
been an option.
See, and that's the thing, though. That's what makes that move where it's one that you usually sort of go, he's coming off a ton. He's doing his job, X. That buy and the way we are loaded on that one, that makes that move to Marshall like it's not a real forced thing. It's like a bit of a common sense move.
Agree.
If you had the cash to get there.
If you've got the cash to get there.
All right, it's going to be very interesting. You're tracking, far out.
It's because you got greedy.
The lessons.
You got greedy with McRae. You love the McRae family.
I do.
Too much.
Yeah.
They won't be getting Christmas cards this year, though.
I
That
don't
is
reckon.
definitely not happening for me. the most traded in players ahead of round 11 so far. We've got Alex Sexton in number 1. Everybody is doing it. Joe Richards, Joel Freyer, Zac Fisher, and Kane McAuliffe there. So a couple of rookies, a couple of cash cows there to jump on. So that's a positive thing. But Sexy, I think you just need to get him back. Will Graham is the most traded out at the minute with Colby McKercher, those that haven't moved him as yet. Blake Howes, Nat Fyfe, Hugo Garcia. So cashing down the cash cows.
Yeah, they're out
as we
again.
need to go. Who wants to talk about their trades to begin with? Calvinator, you've already pulled the Sexton move last week, so you don't have to go there.
Don't have to do that one, Roy. So I will be going with Seth Campbell to Freya, which gives me the coin to go Harley Reid to Fisher.
Yeah.
I don't care about
how
the
you.
buy.
Yeah, I'm just saying, how are your buys looking?
I haven't looked, but they'll be fine.
I clicked on your buy detector.
Stop looking at me, Tony.
You've got 3 trades.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Roy.
You'll be able to patch
Still
that
won't
up.
save it.
No.
Do you want me to go, dog?
Go destroy.
Right, I'm going Garcia to Fisher
Okay, right.
and Closey to Sexton again. So 2 guys
wow.
I've started with and I've got out.
How do you
I'm
feel
getting them
about
both.
doing that?
Horrible. It's probably why I was so negative about it last week. So I don't feel good about it, but it leaves me with 1 rookie on the ground leading into the buys.
All right. Tom Stewart has to go for me, of course. He becomes Sexy, so that's all right.
Copy, dog. Look at
And
him.
I'd need to do a bench move. So
Yes.
Kane McAuliffe's the one that I'm going for.
I like
Ties with their injury issues. I
Yes.
think that's probably
He was
the
very
one that
solid.
I'll go there with that and just get some cash ready for some of those moves like
Oh, don't.
Sharp to Green. But I won't need cash. I'll make
You'll
money.
make it.
Got a question for the traders? Tweet the boys at AFL Fantasy or head to facebook.com/AFL Fantasy official.
Tweet.
People love a question, and
Yes.
we love to answer them.
We do.
So we do get them all off social media, and we will get going. Right, here's a draft question straight up.
Oh, I love it.
From RJ. Does Petrarca have any trade value given his current form, or should I wait? What would you be doing with Petrarca?
Sitting
He's a name.
well off him.
He's a name.
He's a name, all right. A name that you can't trust at the minute. The Demons, I don't know what they were thinking, really. So there was a couple of times there where the Eagles started to really get control, and I thought they would have just put all their big dogs, the Demons would have put their big dogs in the middle, and Petrarca was still sitting at full forward.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
So stay away from him.
Averaging 73 in his last 3. Oh, sorry, no, yeah, sorry. No, he had 73 last week. He's been all right. He's had a couple of 90s there. But no, I'm with
You're
you,
not
Roy.
shopping into it.
No, avoid.
All right, Josh has got this one. Who goes out, Harley or Ollie Dempsey?
It's a great question. I mean, it looked like Harley was going to run Ollie's score down on the weekend, but Ollie
He
ended
did by a
up
point.
getting him, didn't he?
No, got him by. Harley got him by a point.
Oh, Harley got late
got a
update,
late
didn't
update,
he?
82.
Oh, well, there you go. Well, they are much of a muchness, aren't they? I would probably just... So I traded out Harley over Dempsey. I'd probably hold on to Harley longer. But they're a coin toss.
Hayden wants to know, is Myers a more solid option than Fisher and Sexton? So
Solid?
Myers keeps getting
Yes.
it done.
Yeah.
And solid's the right word. So he's looking for reliability.
Oh, well, yeah. Then he's your man because he's the reliable one, but there's no way I'd be going him over
And you're
Fisher.
spending a bit more.
He's
coin, obviously.
800K, coming off a 105.
Yeah.
He's going at 92 this year.
Yeah,
He's been good.
and he hasn't ever been much below it,
No.
which is the most impressive thing. But no, I'd be going Fisher.
There's value you're looking at, and also then ceiling, because that's the other side of it. Like I know he said he's looking for reliability, but
Yeah. And one has an opponent, one doesn't. One gets relevant possessions, one doesn't. We
Yep.
want the one that's not getting the relevant ones.
Jack, is it time to trade out Sweet? That's been a disaster.
You've got to get
Well,
off
there's
it.
no point holding it.
Well, if he plays though, so if he comes back in this week,
Oh, true.
He'll be with Vicentini, though.
you think so?
Yep. He's been sick, the big fella. They're going to nurse him back through.
No,
you
he just didn't
gotta-
get a game this week.
You've just
He was better.
Yeah,
He
you've
trained.
just got to get off.
I think so.
It was a little experiment and it hasn't worked.
He's now on your bench.
Now
so
that you're at the buys, though, he might
and that's
be handy
the thing.
covering
Like,
now.
if he plays this week and then especially in round 12, he covers your X if that's what he's there for.
So if he helps your buy structure,
Unless
got to this point.
Unless you need the cash now, which I would highly doubt that you do.
He's 500K.
Because you spend that cash, you trade him after that round 12 buy when he's already covered for X, or if you wanted to roll him through the whole buys if he's playing.
I'd hold him now you've got to this point. He's actually going to have some value for the first time this season through the buys.
Yeah.
All right, Oscar wants to know, who's the priority here, Oliver or Sexton? Interesting question. Sexton is cheaper and has a lower break even and potentially scores more.
And fills a forward spot.
Yeah.
That's sexy.
That's sexy.
Yep.
Oliver you can still get after, because what was his break even? 70 odd.
Yeah. And he's very cheap. But it's Sexton here, believe it or not.
Yep.
Unbelievable.
Well, that's the thing. None of us are overly proud to either own him
Speak for yourself.
or get him back because it's fraught with danger.
Oh, yes.
Like, as quick as he can come and be a hero, he can be dropped for one bad week or God knows what's going to happen. But he is the man. He's the one to bring in. Simple as that.
Henry, what to do with Tom Stewart?
Oh, dog, you take this
Just
one.
trade. You've got to. It sucks. That's been a shocking pick, and the worst thing, a shocking hold.
Yeah.
Like, should have just jumped off.
So it's really like...
Because he wasn't awful when he got that
He was
concussion.
getting 80s and that.
Yeah.
That
Like
was
it was enough to
serviceable.
back him in and go, fix up your rookies and that
Yeah.
sort of thing first. But
But now it's legit go.
yeah.
Like you are
just
really
have to.
trading.
Yeah, and it's under 700K. It sucks so much.
Yeah, there's nothing on his head.
But I can make a couple of dollars by going to Sexy.
Right.
Okay.
So that makes sense.
Yep.
Or you could go to Fisher if that was okay for your buy round, but we're still going Sexy over Fisher.
Yes.
Rightio. A few people asked me about Will Day as an option.
Oh, yeah. Well, he is. Yes. I've ticked it off.
People want to hear you say chippy chippy cow. The gobbledock.
The gobbledock.
There's actually a very large percentage of people that would be listening that have never
Don't
seen
know.
You just have to YouTube it.
Yeah.
Gobbledock.
the gobbledock.
Smiths.
Yep.
Jared, not trade related.
Oh.
But what rank do you think you have to be sitting in to be a chance of a hat?
Well, what am I?
Well,
5,000.
having a listen to Hat Chat and stuff, basically I reckon in the top 3,000 or so, you're still a chance.
Still in the mix.
I think this year, with how that's gone, because you can always look at past performances, and that's an issue that we have in our game, because we do look at that too much with our love of players.
Yes.
But I think this year's way closer.
Yeah.
It's way closer, and it's more volatile than it has been, as we've seen these last few weeks. Calvin went up 2,500 spots in a week.
I'll tell you what can separate the big dogs from the pretenders is the buys too.
Yes.
The ones that we haven't looked at.
Yes. I'm on it now.
Pretenders. Right,
Yes.
this one's for Calvin.
Yeah, I got you.
Reece, what is your longest ton run for a VC or captains?
Me?
Calvin. Yep. Mine is about 3 seasons.
What, in his actual team? He's never had a sub. He's never had to take a sub 100.
For 3 years.
Mine ended this week, I reckon. 3 years.
I noticed your top captain, English, got 80, and 3 of your top 5 didn't get a ton.
Oh, Reece.
Is this Reece?
Yeah.
Reece. He's a cheeky devil.
He's
like
kicking
this.
me.
He does this
He's
sort
pretty
of
happy
thing.
with himself
Oh.
because he's gone 100 every week. Even, knocked on Anderson when he got his 154. That's a big one there. Had some big ones. His last was Merritt with 103, but said when most went low, did make sure he let us know that was the thing. Averaging 125, Reece says, for the year.
Yeah, I think I'm going about 132.
Right.
Now, obviously,
He
Reece
should
must...
take you on in the captain's challenge.
Well, he must be doing well in that.
Gosh.
I'm at the top, though, but that's...
Reece,
Someone replied, get a job.
Who what?
Replied to it, get a job. No, that's great.
Reece,
Well done.
Well done, Reece.
Well done, Reece. I think I've hit my third sub 100 this week.
Yeah,
for the season.
Your run is definitely ended.
I barely get 2 weeks without it. Reece, if you're interested in assistant coaching me,
Or even a pirate hat, mate.
contact me.
Yeah.
Now, Chris, we've talked a bit about Fisher and Sexton, but his question says, do we want Fisher and Sexton back?
No,
There you go.
That is an answer as well.
No.
Yeah.
They are my number 1 and 2 trade targets for the week. Do I want them? No. Will I get them? Yeah.
Yes.
Sean, hey, legends, I have 10 round 14 by players. Should I be trading Reed over Fife solely because of that?
Probably.
Yes, you should.
Because Fife does have the round 13 by.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's going to dictate a few little
You
things.
do have
like
a lot
that.
of trades going into that, though.
Yeah,
so before
heaps.
your round 14 bye, you have 9 plus this week's 2.
It's a lot.
You've got 11 trades.
I know. That's why we can't panic too much. So getting Fisher in this week, for example, for me, yes, dog nearly fell off his seat when he looked at my buy structure that round. But I've got disposable units that...
Look like a black and white film. It's that much greyed out area.
Yes, there was and there is. But like people like Kapow, that's my excuse to get him off. I'm willing to trade just rookies that round. I'm willing to trade spuds.
But who do they go to?
To guys that are
Powell,
later. And then I can,
rightio. Sam wants to know, is Jordan Clark a must-have now?
Well, he's not a must-have, but he's enjoyable
He's
more
probably
often
lasted
than
longer
not.
than you thought he would.
Oh, yeah, I certainly never look at my team and think he's going anywhere. He's averaging near 95. Just a good player. Not a must-have, but someone that's well and truly worthy of selection.
Now, is he in the rolling?
He's knocking on the door.
Yeah, so you can't have a must-have.
There's not room for him.
No, you
There's
can't
too
have a
many good
must-have
defenders.
that's not a top 6.
No, there's too many good defenders.
There is.
But he's certainly, worth having.
Johnny T, high legend. Suggestion for Roy's roll in 22. Dylan Moore out.
Yep.
Jake Waterman in.
Waters.
How good is Waters?
Oh, mate. That's all I need. I'm happy to do that. I love Waters. But no, seriously, we obviously know the rolling 22 is very serious. Yeah. And some of it's
Jack
out of
Darling.
my hands with the criteria. Well, he is doing, going those areas. But it's well recognised there. The F6 spot, which Moore is, in and out of quite often, that could even be filled by a sexy time Fisher type now.
This is the thing. I don't know if this is criteria as part of it.
Yes.
But you would have to be confident enough that you'd want them in your team as well.
Well, yeah, and that's what I haven't been able to do.
You couldn't be confident with Waterman to have him in your team.
So no, that is correct.
Sure, that's some strategy.
So ranked,
It is.
Ford's ranked on average for the year. Waters comes in at number 6.
Yep, good on him. Well, he'd be pumped to know that he's actually knocking on the... I'm going to put him in it.
He would know because
knocking
he
on the
loves
door,
his
I'll put him in.
draft, and I'm sure he's looking at that each week.
Bloody
and
oath he would know.
Wonder if he's got himself.
So he had another bag of 5.
Yeah, 126.
What a gun.
Oh, I love it.
We love him. KP, why do I keep trading in good players but never rise in the rankings?
Same.
Maybe you need great players, not good ones.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like the ex-Harry Marshall thing. Yeah, ex-Harry's good,
There's
but
a
Marshall's
difference.
great.
Rob wants to know, do you hold or fold on Wines? So he's obviously had a low score and dropped because of that, but he's been good.
He's been
been very good.
He's been great, but that would be enough for me just to move him on now.
Yep.
He'd have a thumping great break even.
You would.
He's a nice price to move to an Uber premium.
He's probably not coming down to Hobart to play either.
No.
So, yeah.
Trade him out.
Yeah, he can go.
Gabe, should I trade in Fisher or Luke Jackson?
Fisher.
Can't get Jackson. Surely he's coming back soon. Das.
Das will be back this week, I reckon.
He was listed as a test.
Yeah, surely after he's failed the test, would have got some cheat sheets and
Yep.
he'll be back this week.
Yeah, he'd be right.
Jeff, tick off Sanders to Bonner and Stewart to Sexton. So is Bonner an option to be bringing in? I guess he is because he's scoring well.
He's bloody in the mix. He's in the mix for the Roland at the moment, Bone.
Yep. So he's 800K.
So he's still cheap for what he does.
He's coming off back-to-back tons and good tons.
Exactly.
Yep.
I know why you're looking there. I don't blame you.
And
God, that's the best starting pick we've had for a long time.
the scale of hardness is really, really nice for the big fella as well, Roy. Yeah, you could do it. You'd have to bite the bullet and swallow your pride a bit there, but yeah, you could do it.
The fear of the vest and being dropped and that is gone.
Yep.
With Boner.
Yep.
Mackay Bay Beers. Who's this D'Ambrosio guy? Had some points on the weekend.
God, it's another one we had earlier in the season that finally did something. But yeah, God, just clap him and ignore him.
Thing is, our backline is full.
It is.
No, I think it was more of a comment, really. I don't think anyone's really going to be grabbing him in. With Chippy, could you have him as your D6? Where does he sit in the mix then? Is he in the mix?
Well, he might actually... He might be close to forcing his way in, but he's definitely in the mix, yes. Yeah, going very well.
Archie wants to know, would you trade English out to get Marshall in?
That's a tough one. I have to say no to it, but it feels like chalk and cheese between the two of them at the moment.
It does. It wasn't that long ago
No,
when it was the shoe was on the other foot.
it is.
And English was pumping out these big scores. English that's his first bad one for a while.
It is.
So
You would. I would like to think you would have a bigger priority than that. But if you're asking, is Marshall a lot better than English? Yes.
at the moment he is.
He is.
Yep.
Yeah.
Matthew's got this one. Who needs to be traded first? Got a list of names here. Cadman, Jones, Howes, Garcia, Sweet, Sanders. I guess it's about the guys that you're probably better off even having a heartbeat for the buys.
Yeah.
Like Cadman might as well be a heartbeat. He
Yeah.
might pop a score that could be fieldable. I don't know.
So I would go, because Sanders has got a bit of money on his head, and I just don't think Bevo's going to get him back in anytime soon. He would probably be my number one. Sweetie, I still
Again,
think if
cash,
you've got him
but
now, use him for the buys before cashing him out. And those others are
Garcia's
just not
got
worth
some
enough.
dollars.
Does
a little
he?
bit. Is he a bit over three? It's not much.
It's not
I
as
don't
much
think.
as you think.
And Jones isn't much either. But
No.
he's got a hammy. At least Garcia's a chance to come back in after racking up 120 in the
exactly.
VFL.
So he'd be the one to
Maybe
hold.
it's Jones and Sanders.
Yes.
That could give you a little bit of cash either way to do something with.
Yeah.
So that should actually get you. A Jones and a Sanders could get you sexy,
Yes.
I think.
Be close.
Somewhere in that range anyway.
Yeah.
And thoughts on ex-Airy to Marshall, given the round 12 bye? Well, must be tuning in
So
and listening. Also gets me Comden to Sexton.
yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
we must have some cash.
Yeah. And that's not a bad way to spend it either.
All right, there we are. That is us talking for an hour or so. And hopefully you are going to be set up for round 11 off the back of that, because there's going to be some interesting decisions. Sexy is one of them.
Yes. Oh, yes.
Is it a decision, though?
No,
We're
it's
just going
not.
to go and do it.
Yeah, we're just doing it.
And it'll be interesting to see what you do with that second trade. Do you go the fish like Roy?
At the moment, I am, yeah.
You know what? The last couple of minutes, I'm thinking
You
about.
zoned out. I don't think you spoke. In
No.
those last couple of
I'm
minutes.
going away because I've been thinking.
Well, you've been thinking.
I've been thinking about my buy structure, Roy.
Yes.
I think X-Airy can go. Yeah.
Correct. We just
Sorry
answered
for
that for
sorry
people.
for floating that out into your
That's
brain.
right.
You'll claim that as your thing now as well, won't you? After telling you that might have been an option for you.
I wonder if you were actually thinking, or you were subconsciously just listening to us.
Yeah.
Was it the normal voice in your head, or was it ours?
I don't know
Because we
anymore.
were
What does the
literally
normal voice
talking
in your
about
head
it.
sound like?
Oh, tells me bad things.
Not good.
Just
well-
before we go, though, where can people buy a beanie like that?
Yeah, I was wondering.
Yeah.
Was it a website?
Just don't buy one.
It's sick.
I can't believe you still had it. I can't believe you've moved house a couple of times since then and you haven't thrown it
Oh,
out.
look at him pretending he didn't buy it.
Bevo wants his beanie back.
White men can't jump, dog.
I'm done.
Done.
Don't read the stock take. Don't read Fantasy Ready. Tune in on Thursday night for the live stream, because that'll be good. I'll probably give you more advice that I won't take. And you
Fashion
blokes
advice.
all...
Will you
Get
wear
something.
the beanie on
Fashion
Thursday
advice.
night, dog?
I don't know. I don't know if my brain will actually fit inside it. I've actually got a headache.
Do have a big head.
The fashion guru.
Yeah.
Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you later. Try to find better mates than I've got. See ya.